Welcome back, Screamers, to another episode of Scream Kingz. I'm TaMon here with my fellow Scream King, Bobby. How you doing today?
I am pretty good. How are you?
You know what? I'm doing pretty good too. I got my little cocktail here. I'm ready to talk about something really fun today with everybody. Again, my name is TaMon, and you can find me at Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and Facebook at TaMon. Bobby, where can they find you?
You can find me Bobby Torres with a Z, not an S, on Twitter, Instagram. Bobby likes to spook you on the YouTube, and of course, People Under the Scares with my co-host Michael Anthony. We miss you.
And of course, you can find us both here on Scream Kingz, and we are missing 2/4 of the Scream Kings. Life happens, but we wish them love, and we can't wait to see them again next week. It's Authors Appreciation Day, and in true Scream King fashion, we're going to celebrate horror authors and storytellers. But today, to help us celebrate, we've invited some special guests to help show our appreciation. So, first up, we have an award-winning master imaginationist and author of the Spectrum trilogy, Your Trusted Name in Terror, Crystal Connor. Hey, Crystal. Hi, Crystal.
Uh-oh. I think she's frozen.
She's frozen. Crystal, come back. Crystal.
Don't go into the light.
Maybe introduce Victor next and see if he freezes.
Oh, gosh. Don't go into the light. Don't go into the light.
I'll try that
too. Well, Crystal will definitely be back. Next, we have college administrator by day, a writer and geek all the time, author of Strange Lore graphic novel, and co-host of the Mega Sheen podcast, Viktor Kerney. Hey.
Hey.
How you doing today?
I'm doing good. You know, it's Sunday, and it's really sunny out. So yeah, it's really good today.
Yeah. Right. Let everyone know where they can find you on social media.
Y'all can find me on Twitter at Wonderman5. That's 2 N's, 5. Instagram, you can find me under His Name is Victor, and that's where you can find me at, those 2 places.
Okay.
I have a TikTok soon. I'm gonna join the kids and have a TikTok soon.
Please come to TikTok world. It's fun over here. And last but certainly not least, best-selling author, horror and fantasy author with titles such as The Briggs Boys, The Realm, Stitches, and the Planet Dead series. He has a passion for shining light on people of color in horror and fantasy. My boy, my brother, Sylvester Barzey. Hey, y'all.
Hey, how y'all doing? I kind of wanted Victor to so I'd be the last author standing, but you know.
This is not the Hunger Games. Sylvester, tell everyone where they can reach you and find you.
Okay, you can reach me on all social media platforms with the handle at Sylvester Barzey. I made it easy for people. Everywhere.
That's how I am too. TaMon everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in true Scream Kingz fashion, again, we always have some type of fun, some type of game. And today we are introducing a new one called This is where we take our guests and put them under fire and ask you horror questions on the spot. So we're going to actually try that now just to, give it a little test. So who's going to be first? Victor, great. Thank you for volunteering.
Well, damn.
Victor, if you had to live in Woodsboro, on Elm Street, Haddonfield, or in Derry, where would you live and why?
I will live in Derry because if I want to dabble in any type of magic or any type of situation, I can find it easy and quick. So apparently everything is in Derry, so I can find it. Carrie and I will be friends, and yeah, I think you can find everything you need in Derry. So Derry would be the place.
Okay. Why not the other ones though?
Well, I feel like, well, I grew up in a small town. Well, hell, all of them small towns. But I feel like if I'm, Midwest might be a little bit too much. And Woodsboro, that's in California. Small towns in California are really boring. So at least in Derry, there's something going on. There's some type of parade or something that is probably cursed or whatever. So yeah, that'd be a fun place.
No Elm Street? No? You want to sleep?
No, 'cause I want to sleep. I want to be able to sleep. And so again, with Derry, I can dabble in black magic if I wanted to or not.
Okay. Sylvester, I'll make it easy for you. Same question. If you had to pick between Elm Street, Woodsboro, Haddonfield, and I want to take Derry out because we already picked.
Take it out.
I just had another one. Woodsboro, Haddonfield.
Maybe Sunnydale.
So that's a good one. Sunnydale. Which one would you live and why?
There's about like one black person between all those towns. I'm gonna go with Woodsboro because I like the whole vibe that they have when they have their little slasher marathon and everybody's obsessed with slasher movies. And that's for me. And me and Sydney, I love Sydney to death. But I'm not gonna be in her circle of friends. So I doubt
Sorry, guys.
Hey, you back.
Welcome back.
I am. Technical difficulties. Like, that's embarrassing being from Seattle and having technical difficulties. Like, sorry about that, guys.
No worries. So I gave you a rundown, but tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
Everywhere under and notes from the author.
Okay. At notes from the author. So since you popped in, you're going to be in the Hell Seat. And Hell Seat is our quick game that we're going to play with everyone to sort of ask you a couple of horror questions. So your question is, if you had to live in Woodsboro, Haddonfield, no, not Woodsboro, Haddonfield, Elm Street, or Sunnydale, where would you live?
Damn, that was quick.
And why?
Well, first of all, like, if I'm gonna make it to be the final girl, I'm gonna need a full night's sleep so I can think straight, right? Like, I think what made Elm Street so sinister is once you become sleep deprived, your decision making totally goes out of the window, and he absolutely had the upper hand with that. Two, because I'm black, when I'm running from the monster, I'm not going to fall, right? So I have a better chance at getting away. And yeah, I just would rather deal with the good old fashioned maniac super killer than someone who can hop in my dreams and it's just, yeah, I can't. I mean, yeah, that I'm gonna stay in a regular neighborhood,
So the other pen,
right?
That's right.
Because Michael just be popping up everywhere. You can be unlocking your doors, and next thing you know, he's behind your door, shanking you up.
But
he be driving down your street and whatnot.
Right.
Michael be a little extra about things sometimes.
he really does. He is the ultimate let's just work it out one more time. What do you mean you don't want to see me anymore? Basic stuff, right? So I can deal with that, unfortunately, because I have experience in that, right? So again, I'd have the upper hand if I could be closer to getting to the end of the movie than anyone else. He's the ultimate, just won't let it go.
He's probably the worst ex-boyfriend you could ever have. Because you're not going to answer my calls. You're not going to answer my calls. I see you. I'm watching you. Answer the phone.
I have never in my life thought Michael as an ex-boyfriend until that fits him so well. It's just
toxic. He's toxic as fuck. Toxic.
Sending you text messages on your anniversary and whatnot.
10 years later.
I see that.
Showing up at your wedding, what do you mean you don't want to see me anymore?
Oh my God.
Sylvester picked Woodsboro, and Victor picked Derry, Indiana.
Oh, okay. See, nobody wants to live on Elm Street. Freddie is nuts.
No. I think I probably would have been a dream warrior, but no. I'm not micronap for real.
I'm not even gonna gamble that, because what if I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be a dream warrior, now I'm just a basic ass victim in my no. I'm gonna die so upset. No, I'm not doing that.
All I have is switchblades.
They just needed training. They didn't have enough time to train and use their gifts well.
That's true.
That's true. They needed Professor X.
They had like one training montage. That was it.
In my dreams, I'm sexy and bad.
You would have thought Nancy would have been like, okay, we need to develop y'all a little more. Just a little.
Yeah. She was fired before then, right? So she was like,
you should have been Dr. X in that situation.
So our very first question of the night is the life of an author. So when did you first know that you wanted to be an author, you wanted to tell stories?
Is this for me?
It's for everyone.
Oh,
okay. I'm glad you volunteered. Sure.
There you go. I'll try and keep it as short as I can. So I've always told really scary stories, and when I was still in, like, back in the day, I would be invited to the slumber parties because I told the scariest stories, right? And so I'd be like sleep in my little sleeping bag, and everyone would be awake looking at like the branch scratch against the window. So like storytelling was something I've always done, but I didn't think that I was going to do it as a living. So fast forward to adulthood, I was working in a welding shop in Seattle, and some of the guys knew that I wrote, and so they're like, "You need to go talk to the welding instructor." And I just didn't. So one day he came to me. He's like, "I understand that you write. Would you mind me like taking a look at some of your work?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's no problem." So the next day I brought him a short story called The Darkness. And he said that he was going to take it home and read it so that he'd have something to read over on his ferry ride home, because he lives on Whidbey Island. So the next day I get to work. Now let me set the scene. So I am a Black woman working in a shipyard, so there's not that many of us to begin with. And I, at the time, was the only girl there, I believe. And so this guy looks like a fucking Viking. He's 6'6", bald hair, blue eyes, like a big, like the type of guy that you would imagine working in a shipyard, teaching people how to weld, right? So I punch in, and out of nowhere he comes, and he's looming over me. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" So now I have an attitude. Like, what do you mean? What am I doing here? It's my shift. And so he takes my little story, he flings it at me, and he says, "You should quit your job and write, because you're not taking your writing seriously. And this is not a short story. You're a lazy writer." And so he storms off. So now I'm mad like this, right? But what can I do? He's 6'6". So I pick up my work, and I'm mad all day until I think about what he said to me. He didn't, like, normally when you're not good at something, people say, "Don't quit your day job," right? And he told me to quit a job where I was working, making $56 an hour. Okay, so let me like roll this over. What the guys didn't tell me in the shop was this man is an award-winning author. He has won like over $800,000 in prize money. So he knows what he's talking about, right? And another thing they didn't tell me was his wife was an award-winning editor. So by the end of the week, I hired an editor off Craigslist, and she was working in like the tech field, like non-creative. And so she's like, "This is going to be interesting. I've always wanted a creative writer." So in the middle of the project, she calls me and she's like, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to continue to edit for you because I'm not sleeping well," right? Some of the stuff that you write is super dark, but there is another editor that I want to introduce you to so that you can have an editor. Can you meet us here? And so I'm like, "Yeah, I can do that." And so basically I show up, I'm in jeans, a t-shirt, 2 pieces of bubble gum because I like a lot of bubble gum, and flip-flops. And it ends up being a business meeting, right? I didn't know anything where I was going. And so I walk into this building, I'm ushered into this conference room, and at the head of this long, oblong wood table is an old white woman with like the pearls, the bun, the suit. And there's two people sitting on the side of her, which happened to be her son and her daughter-in-law. And they were the owners of a small publishing firm. And they all had my little manuscript in front of them. And the woman, the owner was like, do you know how this story ends? And I'm like, not only do I know how it ends, I'm already starting the second book. And she's like, I think that we will be able to earn our money back from you. And then she like spins a piece of paper and slides it over the desk. And it was a publishing contract. And so that's how I became an author. And when I left the meeting, I called my mom and I was like, I just signed a book contract. But she wasn't surprised. She's like, hey, I'm making roast potatoes and green beans. Do you want extra potatoes? And I was like, did you just hear what I said? And so then I called my best friend and I was like, I think I just signed a book contract. And she was like, oh, it's about time. Hey, are you going to have extra potatoes? Like, nobody but me was surprised that I ended up with a book contract. Like, nobody. And I was like, so your friends and family, they're supposed to tell you that you're good, right? Like, that's what they're there for. That's how people end up on America's Got Talent and they don't have no talent because everyone around them is telling them that they're good. But like, he was the first person outside of my circle who didn't know me from Adam who told me that I was good. And not only did he tell me in an encouraging way, he told me in a disgusting way because he said I was wasting my talent. So that's how I became an author. And he's right. The Darkness was not a short story. It ended up being the first book in the Spectrum trilogy. And he was right that I was wasting my talent because 6 months after The Darkness was published, before anyone knew who I was, I ended up with 2 international awards. So here we are.
Wow.
You know how they do in the poetry scene. Yes, let's do it. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that story. That's encouraging for anyone who's watching and you're a writer. Just believe in your talent and believe in the things that you can accomplish. Crystal, thank you again.
You're welcome.
Sylvester, did you say you want
Victor,
to go
what's your story? Victor? What?
Sylvester, you were great.
Like, how am I supposed to follow that? Like, that's just crazy. So my story isn't quite as famous, but I used to write like all the time, but mostly like poetry and things like that. So when I first started writing Planet Dead, that was just something for me to see if I could actually finish long form writing. And then I was publishing it on like Facebook when Facebook used to have notes and stuff. So yeah, and my friends were really into it. And they were like, I would publish a chapter every week and they were getting really into it. And then after a while, I dropped off because I left school, joined the military. And it wasn't until like I deployed, I decided to focus back on writing. And so I wrote a book, wrote Planet Dead, and found the publishing world and decided that I was gonna give it a real try and focus on it. And that was like 2017, and I've been indie publishing ever since. And I love indie publishing because it's just like I get to do my own thing. I pick my covers and all that stuff. I hate it because it costs a lot of money sometimes. Now I'm working with small publishers. So I'm working with like 2 small publishers and I'm sending them my books. They're just like, we're going to go with this artist for your cover. And I was like, I don't care what you're paying for it. Like they paying for the editors, they paying for the covers. I was like, this is beautiful. So, but I still love indie. Go indie. But yeah, that's me.
What would you tell writers out there who want to be encouraged about, putting out their work and keep pushing?
I mean, first thing is to just write. Like people get so bogged down about after the story is done. You just need to finish the story. Don't stress it. Just write it. Then you can make it better after that. It might not be perfect the first time, but you can make it better after that. And like people worry about haters and getting 1-star reviews. I mean, everybody got 1-star reviews. Stephen King got them. J.K. Rowling got a ton of them now because she talked too much. So like, everybody get 1-star reviews, so you're not gonna please everybody. So,
and I think that I would say to like stay true to your story. So my first book was traditionally published, but I ended up severing my relationship with them because The Darkness is a story about well, the main characters are both Black women who are that do not fit the stereotypical Black woman that you guys that mainstream is used to seeing in the storyline, right? And so I got all the way down to the end of the book. We're right about to launch, and it had to go through the editor in chief, who told me that the horror community would not connect with a woman, a Black woman in this position, and she suggested that I change the character. But because she was a Black woman and her adversary was from Haiti, to change them into white women, the story would be completely changed. And so at that point, we went to war. We actually went to war, and I fought tooth and nail to keep the story the way that I wanted to tell it. And it was such a tumultuous relationship that I told her, like, I want to buy my rights back. And she's like, you can have them back. So during that process, though, The Darkness won those 2 awards, and then they flipped the script, and they're like, well, we're not going to give you your rights back. And because you signed a contract, books 2 and 3 belong to us as well. So I had to hire a lawyer. And so if you stay true to your story will stay true to you, right? Like, it's really hard being a Black person in this industry that's dominated by white men. But I promise you, if you stay true to your story will stay true to you, and your tribe will find you. It's disheartening to be heard as a Black woman that readers will not connect to your character because it's a Black woman who's not the slut and not the mammy who's not, drugged out, talking foul language. It's hard to hear that, but representation is important. Happy Pride, and just stay true to your story. No matter what, stay true to your story.
I love that.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I had a indie. They used to have this whole big old podcast, and they I don't want to drop any names. They were doing like this writers workshop. So I was asking, how could I get more sales? Because I had a lot of reviews and stuff, just not where I thought I should be. And I write in post-apocalyptic, so that's very like middle-aged white man oriented. And then like one of the hosts, he like emailed me and he was like, your cover has a Black woman on it, and that's why it's not selling. And I was just like, wow. And then he's just like, yeah, he's like, publishing, he's like, it's sad, but like the fan base and publishing is very kind of like racist thing. And I was just like, well, I ain't changing my cover. So I just kind of doubled down, and like everything I've written, except for Stitches, because I made that cover myself, but everything I've written since then is like had a Black woman on it, or a Black male since the Briggs Boys. But yeah, it was like that really pissed me off, and I didn't.
Right.
I was so mad. I was just like, well, I'm just gonna keep on doing it, and I did find tribe. I found my group of people who thought it was refreshing having like a mom or a woman of color or just a Black family at the focus. So yeah, you just gotta keep pushing.
Yeah, we need that, and I'm happy you guys kind of just stuck to what y'all believe in and just keep fighting. And everybody that's watching this, as cliche as it sounds, like, just keep going and keep doing it. Fight, well, like what everybody said, fight for what you believe in, because somebody out there is looking and watching and saying, "Oh, I see me on that cover." You know what I mean? And I guess I guess the horror community probably have more of a white audience than Black, but there's a lot of us out there that want to see us.
So when my children's book came out, it has 2 brothers, Tayshawn and Kevin. And when it premiered at New York City Comic Con in 2018, the kids lost their mind to see one younger stars in a horror book, and then to see them in themselves. Like, so my first nightmare is an introduction to children or anyone in the horror genre that introduces young kids to the horror genre by telling stories of actual folklore, mythology, and urban legends from all around the world. And so each story takes place in the region of the world where the monster is, and the star of each story is a kid from that region. So from A to Z, from all over the world, there's kids from like South Africa and Romania, and so it's a very diverse book. So like they were like losing their minds over it, and I was doing really well. And I remember about 6 months afterwards, I got an email, and this guy, one of the we'll just skip over that what I'm going to say about him, but he was like, why aren't there that many white kids in your story? Okay, well, first of all, it's around the world, right? So not everybody in the world is white. It's not, monsters from around the United States. And if I were to do that, it still wouldn't be all white, because we have all of the South with all of those monsters that had came with the transatlantic slave trade. But it's all around the world. So like, you're not the center of every story. I'm sorry. So even when you get successful, when more eyes get on you, there's going to be even more pushback, but you have to hold the gate. You just have to hold the gate.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, Victor, how about you? Life, as an author.
Well, luckily I grew up in the 80s where there was just a lot of craziness on television. And we had a lot of great books. One of the books that really inspired me to write was Scary Stories You Can Tell in the Dark.
Yes.
That book was so popular when I was young, but I was so scared of it. So I would get the book, but I wouldn't read it until Sunday morning. Well, I love the art so much, and it just really inspired me to do a lot of different things. So really quick, in the eighth grade, I wrote a story called Midnight Clock, and where it was about a clock that these people just moved into a new house. That clock, once it hit a certain time, it will show them what happened previously in this house. I wrote it, not really thinking about what I was writing at the time. I wrote it for reading class. It was a class called reading. And I wrote it, and next thing you know, my mom said, I got a call from the school about your writing. They're really concerned because it is really scary, a little graphic and everything. I was like, well, that was the point. I wanted to write the story. And so after that, I just kind of wanted to do something over the years. And then when I finally moved here, I was working at USC at the time, and I ended up getting into the summer program for the film school, and I ended up writing a script called Strange Lore, because I wanted to do something where there's like a Black queer person in the middle of some fantasy and horror. Wrote it for class, did really well. The teacher really loved it. The teacher actually he used to write for the original Equalizer TV show, so that was one of his things. But after that, I decided that I wanted to do something with it, just didn't know what to do. So I made it into a graphic novel. We raised the money on Kickstarter. We got the money like right off the bat, but we got the money. Even had help. April Rain, if you know what April Rain is, really helped out. I retweeted it and everything. So we got that together, and I released it. And from that just really kind of took off in ways that I had no expectations. But it kind of helped me realize that I'm a pretty okay writer.
Pretty okay.
But we all have our doubts, and in some ways I'm like, does this really work? And people really get into it. And I had like John Jennings, and people were like, hey, I read this, I really liked it. And I was like, you read this? And I also had I won't say what not studio, but the production company is, but I had a meeting with the production company about the book. I will say this, it's a production company that we really like a lot. They have done a lot of Black stuff.
Oh no, don't drink the tea. Don't drink the tea.
So that was a really interesting experience. It was weird because I was like, why am I even here? But it was really nice to be a part of that. And ever since then, I've been inspired to do more. So I've been working on a couple of scripts. I just finished one that features 2 Black queer people in the heart of it, as well as another Strange Lore is coming. And then I also have written a book. So we'll see how that goes. But I just like creating those stories that just kind of scare you, make you think, but also feature us.
Yes.
So we need to be in the middle of all of it. We need to be in front of all of it, the back of all of it, whatever. We just need to be in it. So that's why I got in it. That's why I'm in it. And yeah, that's all about me.
I think the reason that people were like pushing back on the second Candyman is because it was our time to tell our version of the story, right? So the first Candyman was written by the white point of view with the white woman in danger of the big black man. But like the second Candyman was like our version of events. Like, this is what's going on. And I think that's what made people so uncomfortable because one, they weren't centered, and two, it puts it in their face. Like, this is what we live through. Being a black person in the United States is a dystopian environment. It is a post-apocalyptic environment because this is how we live in real life. And so, yes, we do need to be able to tell our own stories. And with the studio that you worked with that you shall not name has really helped put us front and center. So I'm super excited about what's happening for you. And I just can't wait to see more.
You know, I always say that Bernadette should have been the lead of Candyman. The best friend of Helen. Yeah. I thought she should have been the lead instead of Helen. And I love Helen, but come on, you're absolutely right, Crystal. That is a black ass story that should be told from a black person. and that only you can say
y'all ain't down with Helen going down to the projects for her homework and hiring a black kid to tell her about the games.
They ganged me in the bathroom.
Messed that little boy's whole world up. Like,
I've been writing since I was a kid. I've loved horror since I was really young. But my mom and dad told me that I had a huge imagination. Which means I got on their nerves. And so, so when I was like 9 or 10, my parents gave me a word processor. And so ever since then, it was over. I wrote this story called Danger Island. And this shows my age. My character's name was Daphne because I love Daphne Blake from Scooby-Doo. And one of the names were Helen.
He was the smartest one.
She understood the assignment.
Yeah.
And then another character name was Helen because I read Lois Duncan's I Know She Did Last Summer, and I loved that character from the book. And of course, it became my obsession as an adult too. And so I would just want to say that as a writer and as a creator and a content creator, we just have to make sure that we are keeping authentic to our voices and make sure that we set an example for people who are watching us. And I don't like the term sellout, but it's an appropriate term for this conversation, I think. And make sure you just stay true and not let those dollars confuse you on what the assignment actually is, because that money runs out, but your vision and what your inspiration to others will not.
Yeah.
Right. This sort of bleeds over into our next question: is what are some of the joys and challenges of being a horror writer or author in general?
I will say that the joys of it is just the journey that you take when you are like outlining everything and going through, what you're creating. That's the joy. Creating worlds, creating so many different things is a joy. I love just sitting down going like, what if this? What if that? What if we twist this around? And it's really fun just to really just get lost in that creative space. Sometimes the sour parts are when you do see other attempts at what you're trying to do, and it's like, okay, what? And sometimes that throws you off, or sometimes you wonder, will people be too, lost on it? I think I remember something that Clive Barker was talking about. He always felt like people would be lost on some of his stories that he would tell, and that's some of the sour parts. Like, will they be lost on it? Will they get it? Will they understand it? But pretty much, I get a lot of joy just creating it and just world building. That's so fun to me. I can get lost in that before I even really get a chapter written. But
I think if someone is getting lost in your story, they're not your tribe, right? Like Clive Barker's stuff, like and like how you're saying you're afraid that someone will get lost in it. It's not your tribe. Like I've never been able to finish a Clive Barker story because one, he takes you places to where you might not be okay afterwards after you close the book, right? So like Nick said, I'm not doing that. I'm not part of his tribe. But like if you're nervous that someone is not going to get your work, don't change it. They're just not, the people who don't get it aren't, if the girls get it, they get it, right? So if they're not getting it, it's not your problem.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it may not be for you, but it could be for somebody else that would.
Right,
You know?
right.
Everything has its place,
Yeah.
and everything is not for everybody.
Right.
One of my concerns, I was my business manager. I was speaking to them about making one of my characters. How do you express this queer love story without it being turned off by other people? And he was like, "You want anybody to be able to pick up this book and enjoy this story, whether they are part of this lifestyle or not." And so that can sometimes that statement can sometimes be misconstrued as veil it in a certain way that is not authentic to the story that you're trying to tell. And so that's one of the challenges for me as far as like being authentic to the story and making sure that, because you're not going to have everybody's going to sign up for what you're writing about. Everybody's not going to love it. And so that's why it's always important to pinpoint who is my core audience, who is this story for. And that sometimes it's hard as creatives because we want everybody to love it and we want everybody to just buy my story, be a part of this, but it's not. It's not going to happen.
And when you stay authentic, the people who are not in the lifestyle will get it. So like the first movie that horror movie that I watched that was had queer main characters is a movie called The Disappearance of Alice Creed. Because that was, have you guys seen that movie?
Mm-mm.
So there's a love triangle there, but it is a horror movie. And because it was probably shot from someone within the community, it was still like, despite who they loved, that story was still extremely terrifying because it wasn't fetishized. And another movie that I watched that like blew me away, that so I think watching horror movie is a participation sport. And so the more I'm screaming at the characters, the more fun I'm having. And one movie that like really left me hoarse at the end of the movie was called What Keeps You Alive. Have you guys seen that?
I haven't seen that at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so What Keeps You Alive is a it's wild and it's terrifying, and it's two women on their honeymoon. So that they're gay has nothing to do with the story at all.
Yeah.
And another movie that's like super terrorizing because it's about a gay man and plus intersectionality, because when he started telling his partner things were going wrong, he was being dismissed because his partner was a white guy. It's Spiral, not like from Saw, not from Saw, but Spiral. And it's the second movie from the director who wrote What Keeps You Alive. And that movie is absolutely terrifying because this family was targeted because of they were same-sex couple. And then when the Black person who always noticed shit going wrong first, when he was trying to tell his partner what was going on, he was dismissed because his white.
Oh, she froze.
Don't pause on his white now. Come on. Don't do this to us.
I saw The Disappearance of Alice Creed. I just realized. I saw it.
And I've seen Spiral, but it just makes me upset every time I watch it. So
that was on Shudder, wasn't it? Was it on Shudder for a little bit? Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people get frustrated with that movie.
I am sorry. My technology. I'm writing a story about technology right now, and so
that's why it's turning against you.
Yeah. It's not Mercury retrograde, is it? Yeah. I think that just ended. Actually,
you gotta watch that technology.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you know what, Crystal? Since you popped back in, I think it's a good time for you to enter the hell seat with Bobby.
Oh no!
Uh-oh. All right, Crystal. So, my first question for you: if you can remake one horror film, which one would it be and why? It's pretty simple.
It is pretty simple, but like I am absolutely aggressively against remakes, especially if it's really good, right? I don't think we should be remaking movies because rarely are they ever good. Like I was so upset over the remake of the Evil Dead. I know that I'm gonna get a lot of like fans leaving me over this, but like
The reboot or the recent one that we just got?
the recent one that we just got.
Okay, okay. I'm about to say not 2013. 'Cause that's okay.
I'm not a fan of American remakes, and I'm not a fan of American film studios remaking international hits because it's just things should like if it's good, it should be left alone. So like I can't think of any movie that I would want to see remade. Like they're remaking oh gosh, Clockwork Orange, right? And
Yeah.
so how when I first saw that, I thought it was a joke. I was like, it better be a joke because like how would they remake it and still have it be horrific as it was when it was first um released onto the public, right? So like
Mhm.
I can't think of not one movie that I would want remade, not one.
Not one.
Not
Okay.
one.
Okay. Well, my next one, I got quite a few, child, because some of them need to be remade. But my second question is, who is your favorite final boy or final girl?
Do you remember a movie called Animal?
Yes.
Okay, so she should have been the final girl, right? That movie made me so angry because I don't understand why she had to die. She was the one who drove the movie to where it was. She was the one that got them both out.
Hmm.
And for her to die at the end for no reason like that, I was writing letters. Like I became the like Karen, like I need to talk to your manager because that movie made me so angry because she was supposed to be the final girl.
Right.
And in that same vein, I was super mad in when a certain character in The Descent died because, like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So those are
That's
my
how
those are my two final girls who weren't quite final girls.
I love that. That's how I felt about the Friday the 13th reboot when I think Danielle Panabaker's character, we thought she was all going to make it, and she ended up being killed at the end, and we didn't like that.
At
So,
all. Like there was no reason for it. Like I just think
no
that like,
reason.
they have to follow the formula that like that black people have to die, but she if it wasn't an animal, if it wasn't for her, like
Yeah.
no one would have lived. And so like I'm
Right.
just like, oh, let me calm down because thinking about it just pisses me off all over again.
So funny. All right, my third one is if your work was to be adapted into a movie, a feature film, what director or directors would you like to for which director would you like to take it on? Sorry, I
um
got a little messed up.
I am like Shyamalan because like
Oh,
yes, I'm
okay.
sorry. Like I know that some people are like, we don't like his work, but he's good. Like there's only been one movie that I haven't liked from him. But like the way that the twist ending comes if you don't like, you know what I mean? Like with old, I was just like,
Yeah,
are we kidding? The implication of what was going on at the end is what made it like even more terrifying. Um, he did really well with Knock at the Cabin Door.
yeah,
I've been a fan of his forever. And of course, Jordan Peele because he's a black man who understands black characters and black writers. And so I wouldn't mind having him like turn my work into something amazing. And of
yeah.
course, my internet dad, Stephen King.
I love that. You gagged me with M Night though, because even though I like him, but he's not a lot of people's favorite, So I wasn't expecting that answer, but I love that. My fourth question is if you can have an all black cast to star in a reboot or remake of your favorite horror franchise, it's similar to the one I know you say you don't, but just let's just say. Um I'm gonna repeat it though. If you can have an all black cast to star in a reboot or remake of your favorite horror franchise, what franchise would it be?
Friday the 13th.
Yes. Well, why?
Um, because I think that it would be super interesting to write a story with like um black people camping for real, like not making it funny. Like we just got The Blackest, right? And that was like super fun. And usually when we see movies with Black people in the wilderness, it's always like uh jokey. But one of the things that I think that we need to normalize is, the saying that Black people don't do that. Well, actually we do, because like when I go on vacation, I'm like an adventure vacationalist. So I'm doing like whitewater rafting, rock climbing. I do those suspension bridges, and sometimes I'm the only Black person in that landscape, and it's always the comment is like, "Oh, wow, it's nice to see you out here," but like we are out here. So
Exactly.
to have a horror movie with Black people in those spaces, seriously, with the right gear and the right um training, right? I think that would be like a brilliant justification for like running from a maniac serial killer that won't die.
Yes. I
So
love
that's
that.
the one that I would choose, just because um we just need to normalize Black people in all spaces.
Yes. It's funny you mentioned it because I love the Black Men. I've seen it a couple times, but it kind of just wanted me. It just kind of just like reminded me that we need a more serious movie with a all Black cast.
So,
A horror.
Robin
So
Givens wrote
yes.
The Haunted Forest, and
Hmm.
I loved that movie because it was the most authentic Black people in the wilderness that I've ever seen in my whole entire life. And
Right.
I like the fact that she made them on a haunted trail, because like they were screaming for help, but everyone thought it was part of the show. Like it was brilliant. Like, and I
Yeah.
can't believe that movie didn't get more traction. But it was so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we definitely need more movies like that, and like you said, in those spaces that you normally wouldn't see Black people in. So hopefully, we get more movies like that very soon. All right, and my last question is, what would be your unpopular opinion on a horror film?
Mm, that's a good question.
Some,
Um,
something that everybody goes up for, and you just like, nah. And
like I think that we need, like, I'm tired of, I don't want, like, I have to be careful, right? Because the unpopular opinion can like have my inbox full. But like I think we need different final people, right? Like I want a different final. I want a different type of person who's the last person standing.
Damn it, yes.
So
Okay.
that's, I'm gonna leave that. And I would like to have like, what I don't think that we need anymore are people doing stupid stuff in a horror movie to drive the story, because
Yes.
I think if, like in the movie What Keeps You Alive, it does, if everyone is doing everything right and everything is still going wrong, that makes the movie more scary.
Yeah.
Like, why are you, what is this sound? I'm going outside. Like, I'm tired of that, because we
Yeah.
all know better by now, right? Like, why are we running, looking over our shoulders so that we don't fall? Like, I'm tired of that. Like, that
Right.
is not real. Like,
It's
that,
old.
it really is. So, like, I would
Yeah.
like, my unpopular opinion is people in horror movies don't have to make stupid decisions to drive the movie forward.
I love that. I love that. I agree. Everything that you said. Well, that's the end of my questions. Those are my fives. You did really good. That's awesome. I love all your
Thank you.
answers.
And that was so much fun, Bobby and Crystal. Thank you so much for that. And let's go to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Yes, independent authors. If you need to get your stories told, come see me. I will definitely help you. Right now, we're currently working on this sci-fi post-apocalyptic story. It's really cool. We did a book about poetry, a book of poetry, and then of course my own personal projects will be coming out. So find us at TK Publishing. We got your back. So yeah, let's jump right into the next question. Um, gateway to horror. What is a horror book that made you fall in love with horror just in general?
The Book of Revelations.
In the Bible?
All right. Okay.
That is a great one. You know what? Now that I think about it as an adult, it's really written like a great horror movie.
It is. It is.
I mean, never mind. Yeah, that's exactly correct. It's written that. What about you, Victor? What is one of your horror books that sort of got you into horror?
Well, I have it right here. This is one of my favorite books when I was a teenager. It's called Sins of the Flesh. It's written by Don and Jay Davis. It is a wonderful book. Love that cover. That was one of the books that got me into it. It's very freaky. It is crazy. You got a killer Wendigo going around in a small town. Love it. It got me into it. Another one, The Pet. Strange ass book. You ever get a chance to look at it? It is really interesting. It's about like a town there's a serial killer in town. There's this loser kid who's like a loser, and then for some reason he always fantasizes about his favorite horse in the picture, and the next thing you know, the horse is out and killing people. So those two books have always stuck with me, and I have kept them all these years. So these two books, The Pet by Charles L. Grant and Sins of the Flesh.
Yes. I gotta check those out.
That's nice.
Yeah, Sins of the Flesh sounds fun.
Yeah.
What about you, Sylvester? What is a book that sort of gotten you into horror?
So like I wasn't a big reader when I was a kid. I was into like horror movies and horror TV shows, and Tales from the Crypt really like locked me in, and those were based on EC comics, and I'm a big comic person. So I liked reading the reprints of those. But as far as books, like I have to thank R.L. Stine for getting me in with Goosebumps. Like I just love Goosebumps books. They wouldn't let me write because you always had to do like you'd read a book and then you had to write a mini paper. They wouldn't let me do it on Goosebumps. So I had to read other books. But yeah, Goosebumps was the only reason, and comic books are the only reason that I ever really started reading. As like my mom probably would have liked that answer, but yeah, I just hated reading. But like it wasn't that I hated reading. It was just I wasn't reading things that were interesting to me. So
I think for me, Lord of the Flies, because it was on the summer reading list.
Oh,
yeah. So Lord of the Flies, I was like, this is not really happening.
This
could be me. And so like Lord of the Flies is one of my favorite books. I think there was a movie, but I don't think it was that good. But I like Yellow Jacket. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
But Lord of the Flies was one of my favorite books. And then I've already said this already, but Lois Duncan, anything she wrote, I was in love with, from Killing Mrs. Tingle to, of course, I Know She Did Last Summer. I think it was Daughters of Eve, I think is what it's called. But any of her books I love. And there's light horror because most of her stuff wasn't intended to be horror until they became mainstream. But yeah, I loved her. What about you, Bobby? What were you checking out?
Sylvester, pretty much same answer. R.L. Stine, Goosebumps. I was obsessed with the books. Every time we had a book fair, I would buy a new Goosebumps book.
Oh yeah.
Every time we had a book fair, I actually had like this is like so geeky of me, but I love it. I actually used to have little Goosebump clubs, so I would have like little Goosebump book clubs with friends and stuff.
That's cool.
We would write letters to R.L. Stine, and surprisingly, I got a little fun, like little package back. It was like it came back with like a wallet and like a pencil sharpener and all this crazy stuff. It was pretty fun. I had a Goosebump theme cake. Like I was obsessed. So Goosebumps was my thing. Loved the TV show as well. So yeah. I was disappointed in the movies.
I didn't read Goosebumps until I was older because here in Washington, a woman from the PTA got them banned in Washington State. So yeah, I didn't.
They weren't even that bad.
I wasn't reading like I got it in high school.
Yeah. I took a master class in R.L. Stine's master class, and he said that one of his favorite things was he read all the letters that kids wrote him. So Bobby, he read your letter. He said that was one of his favorite things. Was getting a letter from the kid. He said he sat down and he read all those letters. He didn't always get to write back, but he said he read them all.
Yeah.
So.
I was hooked.
That's
Oh yeah.
amazing.
I love the covers and the concepts.
Yes.
They were just nice little creepy stories. Like
Mhm.
for him to, and like as I got older and thought about writing, just for him to sit down and push out a new universe all the time, over and over, it's an amazing thing. I always loved R.L. Stein.
Yeah,
I
I
used to
was
love
say,
rubbing. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask, like, do kids still read his stuff? Do they read any horror books at all? Do we know of? Like,
That's a good question.
I think they still do, and I definitely believe the Fear Street trilogy probably boosted it a lot more too.
Mm.
So, but I do think they still read R.L.'s Day, Goosebumps, and now Fear Street. So
Yeah, I
Especially
get
with-
letters from kids too who are reading My First Nightmare, so they are still reading horror books. Yeah,
great. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, like finding like for my when my son was born and we had to like build his little library collection, I was really adamant on not just like buying 5 bedtime stories from Disney and stuff. We went out and we found like these spooky books that were just like I think Lemony Snicket or whatever. He's got
Oh
the dark.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's got the dark. That's me and my son's favorite thing to read. And then there's we had the Diary of Monsters and like so we just went out our way to find spooky books and they're out there. So kids still love them.
That's awesome.
you should DM me your address and I'll send a signed copy of My First Nightmare to your kid.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
I
You're
will.
welcome.
I definitely will. Thank you. It's so Aiden's gonna love
I don't
it.
know if it's my cocktail, but that was really sweet.
I know, it's just like, oh.
I'm from R.L. Stein, really reading Bobby's letter, and you said
That Pisces coming out.
You know it. You know it. Okay, so a fun question. Recast one of your favorite horror books, but Black. Take a moment, let it sit.
Woo! Yeah, I don't know.
You said you going first, Bobby?
I didn't say that. We'll be here all night.
Oh, shit.
I will say Tourist Trap, make it black.
Tourist Trap.
Okay.
Tourist. You said Tourist Trap?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tourist Trap. Because there's a lot you can kind of play with that. You can even throw in a little bit of voodoo in it if you want to. But I mean, I feel like voodoo is a trope nowadays, but in books and as well as everything. But I love Tourist Trap. It's just one of those quirky movies that you just don't get anymore, and that would be fun just to see as a Black cast.
So,
Wait, we doing books or movies?
Say a movie that I
It's a movie. It's a movie. I'm just saying.
No, yeah. I like springboarding off of what you just said. I think The Skeleton Key would be really well with an all-black cast.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Should have actually been an all black.
Yeah.
I love that.
It should have been. Should have been on there.
Who was the main character?
Kate. What's her name? Kate.
Kate Hudson, but who would you cast?
Ooh.
I know.
I think for the older woman, of course, Angela Bassett, because like no one plays a better witch than her. And for her, the younger girl, I want to say Kiki Palmer because she's like urban-y and could fit that like young, vibrant into the club scene of New Orleans. So I think that she would work well.
I never thought of that, but she'd be great. Kiki Palmer would be great.
Kiki be good at anything.
Yeah.
And, for Angela Bassett's brother, and it's weird, but I think her husband would really work in that role as well, because like there's something about him when he's playing a serious character that he is not the one to try. Like his whole aura is like, you don't want to fuck around and find out with me. You know what I mean? So, like, it doesn't matter what he's doing, he's the wrong one to try.
Okay. Sylvester, what's your book?
See, you confused too. My book, like I don't know. Like my favorite book is, I do love World War Z. That's one of my favorite books, and I'm just like addicted to zombies. But World War Z,
of course.
World War Z. Like if we had to, that would be a number one movie that I would want to remade is World War Z. So yeah, if we were gonna do that, give me Idris Elba, give me Will Smith. I'm gonna take Michael B. Jordan. We gonna stack this cast. Give me Keke Palmer. Everybody. I want them all.
Like that one scene in 28 Days Later when he was like 28. Yeah, the second one where they lost the city. When he was standing there looking at all them come in, he's like, "We've lost the city." Like that scene will always be iconic. Like always.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
I'll go now. I'll say Carrie. A black Carrie.
That would be good.
Dump all that onto her hair.
Oh, she's about to snap. That's what happened.
There is a book. There is a book, a black version of that.
Yeah.
It's already out.
The Weight of Blood.
Yeah, it is. It is
Yeah.
a good book. If you get a chance, listen to it, read it. It's really good.
But
also read The Weight of Blood.
The Weight of Blood.
It's also has an audiobook, you guys?
Yeah, it's an audiobook. Yeah.
Hey, Audible, spend that credit.
And she did White Smoke. It was Tiffany Jackson, right? Yeah, she did White Smoke. I love White Smoke. That was such a nice little book. I love that.
All right, I'm gonna get into that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to cast. All right, so for Carrie, it's hard because I don't know too many like young actresses.
The younger
and
actors.
stuff now. So I'm just go with like Zendaya or somebody because I feel like she did great as Rue on Euphoria, and she can play like drug addict and stuff. So I can see her, her mama can be Taraji P. Henson. So I feel like she would turn it out.
I'm gonna laugh at you.
The teacher can be Rachel True, the one that's trying to help her. Rachel
Who would be the mean girl?
The mean girl?
That's a good one.
That is a good one. All right, so the first person that popped in my head, I'm not too sure if you guys watched the new Gossip Girl, but I forgot her name. But she has the braids and she always wears those horrible wigs. And she's a mean girl on that new Gossip Girl.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Thank you, Bobby. That was a good choice.
But I can see her because she's horrible in Gossip Girl, so I can see her doing
horrible.
That. Yes. I would even say Tika Sumpter, but Tika Sumpter's a little older. But I feel like if she was younger, she can probably play a good mean girl too. I love.
She could be the gym teacher.
Yeah, you know what? Yep. She can do that.
Who plays Hillary on? I feel so bad for saying this. The new Hillary.
Coco
Jones.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking when you were saying. I was like, she could do a mean. I think I haven't seen her.
You know what? Yeah. Coco Jones.
I feel like she could do it. She's a really good actress. So.
Or that actress that was in How to Get Away with Murder. She can be. I mean, she's.
Yes.
That bad girl.
They were all mean girls in that show. Every one.
Mine. Damn it, Bobby. That literally was mine. Yeah, it literally was.
Sorry.
I'm gonna jump to either It, because the time period of It would be great for a black group of friends to deal with that situation, and in that racist, homophobic town of Derry. That would be so great to focus on some of those as underlying issues, like the novel has versus what we saw on the screen in the new one. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Who would be the clown?
Ooh.
Pennywise.
Wesley Snipes.
Wesley. 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 I can't.
He comes.
You know what? You know what? I can see it though. I can see it. But
Okay, no, let me really try. Let me really try.
I feel like he gonna bust out Blade at any moment, like
or Noxzema.
yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
It has to be someone with tremendous range. So I'm thinking like a black comedian. So maybe Eddie Murphy would be excellent, probably.
Yeah.
Who was the comedian that was on? Who was the
What about Jay
comedian that was
Farrell?
on The Wire?
The Wire.
Remember The Wire, you guys? The comedian
Yeah.
that was on The Wire.
Let's see.
I don't know. I haven't watched The Wire.
Yeah.
But Chris Tucker come back and play the clown.
No, you guys, it's got to be that comedian because he in
Let
The
me
Wire.
see.
He was a comedian. He was a monster.
Jamie
He was a
Hector.
monster man, but he's a comedian. So, like, you're talking about the range. He would be Pennywise.
I don't know who that character is, but I'm looking at The Wire. But Lance Reddick he popped out here, and I know he has range. And I can't think of a black comedian with range that's really good and not
What about Jay Farrell? Because he does impersonations really, really well. So I feel like he would do great. He was in the beginning. I think it's Jay Farrell. He was in the beginning.
Is the black and
Yeah.
yes, he is good. Yeah.
Yeah. I like him a lot.
I feel like you got it with Eddie Murphy. I think Eddie Murphy would do well, especially when I found out that he wanted to make a Vampire in Brooklyn something serious. Yeah. And then like rewatching it, knowing that was the tone he was going for, I think he would probably appreciate Pennywise. I think he would like that.
It's too many characters for the kids, so we're not going to go there. And I was going to say somebody from Blackish.
Just give us Billy and George. That's it.
Billy and George. The youngest son from Blackish. And
no, you can't have him.
Price.
Huh?
Wendell Price.
That
was his name?
Okay.
No, for Pennywise. He's the actor that was in the actor.
Oh, he's not a comedian. That's Robin's boyfriend from Waiting to Exhale, Russell.
Michael said that's Russell.
Okay, so the son from the Blackish, the youngest one from the Blackish, and Miles Brown is his name.
You can't have Miles. He gonna be Miles Morales. He gonna be Miles Morales.
We already know
he already signed up with Marvel. You can't have him. Leave him alone.
He's been with Kevin Feige and Tom Holland. We already know. We know it's gonna be.
They're gonna be best friends.
They're gonna be best friends. But if he has room in his schedule, from
the little sister from Strange Things.
Oh, I love her.
Oh yeah, actually her brother too. We'll take the black characters from Stranger Things.
Okay.
But she will be great in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do a gender swap on a roll. We'll make it real.
I'm here for it.
He's
like
just stealing black kids from everywhere. He was like, "And
you taking your kids? That's triggering. Let's not say that. That's from. That's the real one.
Okay, now think about Damon Wayans being Pennywise since he was homing the clown.
Oh. And that would sit with everybody too.
Homie the clown would be scary if it wasn't funny. Like I like that. I like that choice.
Yeah. That's definitely true. I like that too.
We all knew the range needed to come from a comedic actor. Like you understand the assignment.
Yeah.
Like, genres like horror and comedy get all these raps about their ability, but we have all of them. So And on that note, I think it's time to slide into another hell seat. Victor.
All right, Victor, it's your turn.
All right.
All right, so I pretty much got the same questions because due to some of my castmates not coming in tonight, they couldn't be here. I wasn't prepared, so I'm gonna have to just recycle some of the same questions. But I'm curious to hear your answers.
All right, no problem.
Okay. All right. So my first question is, if you can remake one horror film, which one would it be and why?
I would remake Halloween. I feel like there's some fun elements to it that we could really play around with, and I think
Halloween again.
I just think that you can. I kind of like the supernatural approach because I feel like they were trying to go there, but they didn't know how to do it properly. But
Right.
I would like to do that. If anybody ever read the book from 1976, I think, or eight, it talks a little bit about the curse, and I think that would be fun to play with that as something that kind of hit him, when he was a kid and the grandmother knew. That is something I think that might be interesting to do. Do you want to do a complete backstory? No, but something about a curse and something about a berserker curse that you can really play on with Michael. So that would be a movie that I would like to do. But I still like the fact that this was just some rando coming into town killing people. But if you're going to do it in a supernatural way, I would love to kind of play with
I love that. Now that's why I caught my head a little bit because I'm like, that's my favorite horror movie like ever. Hello. And people have their thoughts on the trilogy and all that stuff that just came out recently, and then Rob Zombie's remake. But I like that you said go based off of the book a little bit because they do talk about the curse. We're not talking about the Thorn curse that's in the franchise, so we're going to stay away from that because that went really weird. So I'm happy you chose that. So my next one is, who is your favorite final boy or girl?
My favorite final boy will be, and the name just slipped my head as soon as I said it, but in Night of the Demons, the black boy, because he reminded me of Roger. Grew up with a lot of people just like Roger, religious background. Roger was like, look, I ain't got time for y'all to figure out what's going on. I'm trying to get that is the person that I love so much, is that so Roger is that person. Roger is kind of the example that we need to set. Also, Geraldine, I'm saying the name wrong, but Jada Pinkett's character in Demon Knight, that was wonderful, and I loved her in that because it was just, that's how, I was in college, and at the time I was like, that's how we were. We would have dealt with it that way, but also that there's a bigger message for us, a bigger goal for us, out there. And if that means demon hunting, so be it. But I wish they would have carried that on. That would have been a great.
Yes, I see that all the time.
And I'm sure that Jada will be like, I could come back and do, I got kids. I'm training the kids now, like something like that. But I would love to see something moving forward with that type of story.
All right, first of all, you're in my head. Like, I'm loving all your answers. So yes, Roger is great. I give Mike a lot of shit because he goes up for Roger, and I give him a lot of shit, but in actuality, I love Roger as well. He was just about getting the fuck out of there. And then Jada, like I always said that I wanted like another Demon Knight where she's passing the torch to another, a younger Demon Knight or whatever. And she don't have to be in the whole series or movie, just a quick montage of her doing her thing, passing the torch, and then moving on about her day. So love those answers. My third one is, if your work was to be adapted into a movie, what director or directors would you like this take it on? You would like to see them take it on?
Ooh, that's a good one. Scott Derrickson, or Jordan Peele, see what they can do with that. A part of me is curious about Old Boy, the Evil Dead, Sam Raimi, just to see how he will play with characters. Because one of my characters is just kind of really dark and demonish. I would love to see that take, but yeah, I would love to see either of those directors kind of do, if Strangelove was ever on television, that would be those would be the three that I would look for that.
Okay. Sam Raimi. I love Sam Raimi. You said what?
Oh, there was another part to the question if I missed it.
Oh, no. That was it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the next one is if you can have an all black cast to star in a reboot or remake of your favorite horror franchise, what franchise would it be?
Return of the Living Dead.
Ah!
Just because, I mean, it's great for what it is, but I would like to see what if it was some black folks? What if it was like, I don't know, 1998 Freaknik, they trying to go, and then boom, this
Not
stuff
Freaknik.
happens, right? And then they have to figure out how to survive. They trapped, because Freaknik just went total awry. So that would be
You know
fun. I
what?
love that movie so much, and imagine who would be a black version of Trash, but in kind of again Freaknik terms. So
Yeah,
that was to see.
I can't believe you went there. Not Freaknik. Okay. I
Let
would
me-
love to see that though. Return of the Living Dead, Freaknik, let's go. um, wow. And my last question is, what would be your unpopular opinion on a horror film?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Oh, what would be your unpopular opinion on a horror film?
I have two. Terrifier 2 is trash. Because I don't. I just want to take a moment with that. Terrifier 2 does not have a story it's like this. That's the entire story. None of it goes
Okay.
this. Despised the
True.
movie. Went to the theater to watch it. I was like 2.5 hours. What? What? That Malignant. I don't get the hype. I don't get the hype. I've watched it twice. Shout out to the black writer of that, but I just don't get it. If you want to look at that, look at the Manitou. But I'm just like, I just could not connect with that movie. I tried.
Okay.
So those two, I know people love those to death and they will go to the hill on those, but I despise them. I despise them.
Okay, so Terrifier 2, I get what you're saying about the whole plot all over the place, but it's very entertaining. Too long though. Malignant is camp because at first it seems serious and then it just go to complete campy route, and I think that's why a lot of people enjoy it because it goes somewhere so unexpected. But I thought you was going to say Barbarian because Barbarian is one of my most like movies I don't really care for that. Everybody's like, oh my god! So I'm like,
Oh,
really
I
don't care for
love
that movie.
Barbarian. My school, we just had about not too long ago. We did luckily I got to see it early. We had the producer there, and he explained everything about it. Like the original name of the movie was called "Get the Fuck Out," so
Okay.
they had to change it.
Mhm.
But I loved it. I enjoyed it. But I get it. People are like, "What?" But yeah, I enjoyed
Yeah. First act is great. Last one, blah. But well, thank you, Victor, for playing. This was a lot of fun. I got to learn a lot about you from
it.
this. Great answers.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was so much fun.
Yeah.
We're gonna slide to another. Victor, those some really good answers, and Bob, your questions are good. I feel bad about mine, so just get ready. Get ready.
Oh, boy.
We're gonna slide into another commercial break, and we're gonna come right back.
Video store. VCR horror. There is some graphic violence in this.
So let's see. What is one of your favorite horror authors?
Besides myself,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Stephen King, and the reason I'm saying Stephen King is because, like another guest on the show, I wasn't always like a big reader, but I remember reading Pet Cemetery, and when Gage died, I flew out of my room, slammed into my mom's chest, crying, and I was like, "Oh my God, Gage died!" And my mom's like, "Who the fuck is Gage?" Like she didn't know what was going on, and so because like I wasn't, she was so happy when I was reading that. She's like, "Okay, we'll just get you all Stephen King books," and so he essentially taught me how to write horror. And when I get stuck in my own writing, I always read a book of his to see how it was done. So not only am I like the most apt pupil, he's my teacher because he's the one who taught me how to do it.
Yeah, I always compare him to like the Wes Craven or the his
Yeah.
contribution to film is how Stephen King is to literature. So Stephen King, I knew someone was going to say it. You know, he's like the Godfather. What about you, Sylvester? Who's one of your favorites?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely Stephen King, R.L. Stein. I'm really into Grady Hendrix right now.
Yes.
I'm
Oh my
enjoying
God!
Yes.
My best friend's exorcism.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying stuff right now. I love what he's pushing out. But yeah, Stephen King, he's kind of at the top. I wish he dialed back a little bit on his little N-word usage sometimes because I do audiobooks.
I was gonna say that.
Like me,
I was gonna say that.
I feel like me and the narrator are gonna be fighting sooner or later. But yeah.
I was gonna. The name. So I was trying to look it up really quick. The name slipped me, but he wrote a great book about. There's many great books, but one about like a beast at a carnival that's closed. Also, there was a story about these killers that attacked this young girl, her father, and the neighbor, and they were running all across the country away from these killers. He did a good story about what happens when a curse is put on the town, and on the night that it rains, everybody goes berserk and start killing people. I can't remember the name of that person, but and if I do, I'll share it like on Twitter or something. But Clive Barker will always be that person for me. So as you talked about, my best friend's exorcism, the book when he wrote the Final Girl book club, or not book club, but the Final Girl club, whatever.
Support group.
Support group. Yeah.
That was a great book, and it's funny because they are meeting in Burbank, which is literally 2 miles down from me. So it's like where they're supposed to be meeting. I've driven by there a couple of times. Like, oh, that's where they would be if that was going on. So yeah, it's kind of neat. This like, oh, it's in Burbank, and I live in North Hollywood, so Burbank and North Hollywood are literally like this. So just to know that that was taking place down that way. But that was just a great book with everybody. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with it on Netflix. Yeah,
they let me down with the my best friend's exorcism movie.
That wasn't the great.
They just missed like a lot of the aspects in the book.
The horror.
Made it horror. Yeah, they definitely did too. My favorite one from him is the Southern Vampire or the Southern Book Club's Guide to Vampire. I love that book. Me and my wife listened to it on audio together, and we were just addicted to it.
Yes. I'll go. My answer is pretty much with all y'all's. Your name R.L. Stein, Grady, Stephen King. Like you, Sylvester. I just wish he dialed back on the N-word. I remember when the remake to It was coming out. I never had read the actual book, so I bought the book. It's like this thick. And I said, you know what? I'm just gonna read it, and then I bought the audiobook so I can go back and forth. So on my travels, I'll listen to it. When I'm at home, I'll read it. And like you said, hearing the narrator say N-word, I'm just like, ooh.
It was like as soon as they introduced him, like you never met this little boy at all. They introduced him after, and it was just like N-word this, N-word. I was working and I had it playing, and it was just fine until I was like, "What
is it? ER?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Hard ER.
They ain't had
so
it.
So I found the writer. It's Richard Lehman.
Yeah.
And the book is called One Rainy Night. That's the book that I love that book so much.
One Rainy Night.
It's really screwed up, but yeah.
I'm gonna read it. Like here in Seattle, we have rain all the time, so like I'm sure that'll like send me right to the therapist.
Yeah.
I have so many. There's an author that I stand over. His name is Riley Sager. He did a group of books. One of the books is called Final Girls, not the support group, but just Final Girls. It just checks every single box that I have. It's about these group of girls who survived independently, not together, but they survived these horrible experiences. Like one girl survived the massacre at a hotel, another one survived the sorority house massacre, and another one survived one in the cabin. And the media called them Final Girls, so they got this publicity about it. And then years later, they start getting killed. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's the type of movie I want to see. You know, Jamie Lee Curtis, Nev Campbell, put that together, make that happen. Okay, that'll be great. But Riley Sack, he also has The Last Time I Lied, which is another one that's set at a campground. He has, let me see, Survive the Night. I haven't read that one yet. That one came out in 2021. But if Anne Rice, it takes time for me to read her books, but the end result of it is great. It's just so much to go. You have to really go. For me, I have to go back and reread certain chapters because it's a history lesson.
It really is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he will give you that, especially with Lasher. Lord, that was
Yes.
I was in college, summer reading, I have nothing else to do in Kentucky type of book. Lord, woman, this book is crazy. But I love it though. I love all that stuff that she does.
Oh, everything she
The Hour would be my favorite from her.
Yeah, that's with Rowan, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite ones too. And shout out to AMC for adopting Anne Rice's collection into the Immortal universe, and they're doing a great job. Interviews of Vampire was mwah. It was
that
great.
was so good, so good.
Yeah, and the next one was The Mayfair Witches. It had a slow start for me, but the end result was pretty good. But throughout, it's worth binging, not watching weekly.
Yeah. I'm about to say
I get up on that on the wild.
A better second season. But
yeah, it'll be a stronger second season. It doesn't have the reward of coming back week to week to watch it, but if I can just sit down and watch the whole thing, oh, that's a cool story.
All right, I'll binge it because I was watching it week to week and I was getting drained. So
yeah, it has nothing to offer week to week for sure.
Yeah.
No shade. We love you, Anne Rice. We've done this a little bit, so but the next question is recast your favorite horror book turned into a movie. So we just talked about our favorite
pretty
horror
much.
book.
Okay, so it's one that was already made into a movie. We got to recast.
Interview with the Vampire will be the option.
I just want to know the rules because you confused me last time. Threw me off.
I'm gonna say it's not a full novel; it's a short story, and it's Stephen King's The Mist.
Oh, we were just talking. Yes, go ahead, please.
So, I think the most important part of a story is the ending. And the way they ended the movie was like getting kicked in the throat because they were right there, no spoilers. And because it was even more cringy than reading the book because I'm afraid of bugs, right? So in the short story, when there was a section, I could cover it up and recast or turn the movie. I couldn't do that. I was hiding behind Josh's back, and he's like, "Look, you wanted to watch this movie, so watch it." And I'm like, "Are you kidding? I really can't." And there was a scene in the movie where I watched it just like this. It was the spider scene, but it was perfect. I really get nervous when I'm seeing a adaptation of Stephen King because it was mentioned earlier in the show. There's so much missing when it comes from book to movie, but they really did really well with The Mist, and I think I'm gonna watch it again today.
Yeah.
Who would you cast Black as the main character?
I would recast the one that was in the movie who was the doubter. Because he was the first one to die first, and I kind of didn't like that, and I kind of didn't like his whole attitude where he thought he was better than everybody else. He would be the guy that would go down in a submarine, but I would like him as the main character because is that too soon?
Sorry. It's fine. It's November, so it's fine.
Okay. You were like, oh, and I'm like, oh, so okay. I have no filter. But yeah, the black guy who tied the who was that character, you guys? Who's that actor? Who left the store and got taken by the bug? The black guy in the store. He was the next door neighbor.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
I would have him as the main.
We didn't see him die. They just went out there.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the string went way up in the air and then it came back broke? In the movie,
yeah, I think, was it him or I thought it was somebody else? But yeah,
Andre Braugher.
Yeah, I would cast him as the main character.
Okay.
Yeah, I like
just
him.
Just to do it justice. Because I think like they were following the formula that the black person has to die. And so it would be nice to like recast him as the main character, even though the ending is more brutal than being the first one to die. But I think that it would be like interesting to see him with a much stronger, more multifaceted role.
And he has range, so he will be great at that. Sylvester, you're up.
Well, random zombie fact. The director for The Mist was the showrunner for the season of The Walking Dead first two. So he brought pretty much the whole cast over into it.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. See, and now this question is just pretty much like the last question, so I'm not gonna pick that one. I'm not gonna pick World War again. Who I would recast? Oh, you guys picked all the good ones. We done did Carrie, it.
The Exorcist.
Right. The Exorcist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm in the hot seat. I'm so confused right.
Almost.
Okay. Let's do My Best Friend's Exorcism. I want to recast and do that whole movie over again. I'm gonna make it black too. Everybody black. And we're gonna do black music instead of that rock stuff that it.
So can I ask, like, what would your soundtrack be?
Ooh. We have Prince. We're gonna have Michael Jackson in there. We're gonna have everybody. Was it the 80s or it was the 80s, right?
80s. Yeah. It was 80s. You can make yours 90s.
Yeah, Prince and Michael Ooh. Prince and Michael gonna be there. We're gonna have some hip hop. So we definitely gotta have Biggie in there. A lot
80s
of rappers.
Yeah, so good. So like I can just imagine.
Yeah,
it was all a dream.
Yeah. Oh, just have that playing when she's like the demons coming out.
Yeah,
slow it down a bit. Oh, that'd be fire.
And all his other stuff. Do that to it.
I like that idea because like you can like instead of having the music cues, you can like change the tempo of the song so that we know some about to pop off. Like that would be fun.
Yeah,
that's like the perfect song for the Black Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Reboot.
That's
yes.
I need that in my universe. That's all I need.
Hey man,
make it happen.
I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm. They would boycott if we had a Black Freddy Krueger.
I'm still watching it.
Yeah, they should go for it in a remake. Why not?
Yeah.
Who
else is mad enough to become a dream demon besides a black man?
Oh man.
What about you, Victor? You got one?
So you said to redo a movie or a book? I got confused.
Let's name a movie and recast that movie as black.
Evil Dead. Recast Ash as a black woman.
Ooh,
okay. That's good.
And maybe change the story up to where she knows about the book because she comes from a line of conjure women, and she's trying to stop it. But in the midst of that, here comes, you can say all. How about this? We won't say all the cast is black, but we'll say that maybe she's involved because she's like an aunt of one of the kids who's going with these white folks to the woods, and they're like, and then she's like, "Well, here."
Yes.
So that could be something that, it's like, here's a family thing. Like, this is what you need to know about us. This is why I'm here. I'm not trying to cop block you, but I'm trying to like basically
save your life.
the universe right now. So,
It feels like Evil Dead meets Demon Knight. I like how you had to throw a dumb person in there to kick it off. He's like, yeah.
I mean, that's the catalyst for all destruction. But we'll edit that out. Don't put that.
Yeah, just right away to see that. Drake.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yes.
I think I would do Amityville Horror.
Okay.
Well, no, because like the minute a house says get out, we get our shit, we get our kids and we get them out.
Yeah.
Like
my first situations that we wouldn't do. Like, did you see Them, the TV show?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I'm writing, I don't consume any entertainment because I don't want it to fold into my work.
Yeah, it'll pollute your creative space. I'm like that too sometimes.
My mama's not moving into a murder house. The minute she realized the whole family got killed there, it's just done. It's all
I ask too many questions because I think that Black people, our essence really is inquisitive, right? Like, why is this house in $1 million neighborhood being sold for $248,000?
Yeah.
Like, are you sure? And then like the real estate agent was showing you through the house, and then the whole room has flies in the window. No, like, are you kidding? Like, I'm not moving here with my family.
I could buy it if they were trying to flip it, like if it was like a modern.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we have to live in this house for 2 weeks in order to like while we're construction.
Yeah.
But you know what? In this economy, anybody will take that house. Like if you think about trying to get out, and that you can revamp it. Like in this economy, to get out of the city, you're gonna move into this house, and it's like, oh, stuff happened here. Like, oh, whatever, and then
I mean,
or maybe a more dire situation, right? So like, because like, again, like, I have a hard time believing that a Black person would move into a haunted house knowing that it's a haunted house. But like, if they're like, okay, you have to, this is the only choice, or be homeless. Like, it has to be dire so that they don't have any place else to go. Like, we have to figure out, like, why would you move your kids and this dog in this house? Like, what's going on? Like, okay, you're only making $30 an hour and you have kids to feed, and the house that you're living in already is like super bad, and it's an upgrade, even though it's not like the best house. Like, it has to like have some type of social commentary element to make it more realistic. Like, I like the flipping part because you can have shit going wrong when everything's being flipped, but to have someone move in and not be able to escape that house, because like white people always have the privilege of like, I'm not leaving. This is my house. All this money, put someone in the house who cannot leave would like ratchet up the terror. I think
there was a new Amityville movie where they had people trying to flip the house, and they were staying in there, and all the bad shit was happening to the people while they were trying to flip the house. So I would
make that horror I would make that a horror comedy. The walls are bleeding. Like, that's gonna be someone else's problem once we get this done. Don't worry. Just keep going. You see him just painting at 3 a.m. like $1 million. Just go.
So we don't care about
I was just saying that with all the remake, well, not remakes, but all the I don't know which one to call them. Those Nick chapters of Amityville's already a comedy.
Yeah.
They got Amityville in Space and Amityville Backpack. So Backpack.
They got Amityville Emmanuel. So I felt very like that. Because I'm like, the great Sylvia Christie did not die for them to make it. So I was just really hurt by that.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So I'll probably do Pet Sematary. You guys y'all gave me enough time to think about this. And I'll cast the father. I'll probably say Aldous Hodge. as the father, Morgan Freeman as the old man that's next door.
Mm.
Wait, was that a good or a bad?
No, it's good. I see it. I see it.
The mama can be. I like Grace Byers. I loved her in the Black and she's in the show called Harlem on Prime, and I feel like she's just great. And then obviously she's Boo Boo Kitty on Empire. And then as far as the kids, I don't know, child. I don't know kid actors that much, but we cast random kids for them.
Somebody from Disney or Stranger Things or something. I don't know.
All the kids from Stranger Things are like adults now.
They're 20. Yeah, they're 30s. 30s.
I know. They can have that poor boy shave off his beard that he just grew in.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna go back and use Poltergeist, because if you're counting, then it's a whole different conversation, right?
Okay.
And I'm gonna cast. Ooh, that was gonna be horrible. I'm gonna cast. I was gonna say Felicia Rashad and Bill Cosby, but that doesn't make any sense. And I just that's what came into my mind.
So what?
It's not me. It's not me. I'm gonna go with Kerry Washington and the father needs to be really strong, and
Idris Elba.
Idris Elba. Oh,
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that will sell the movie for sure. Idris Elba, Kerry Washington.
Who's supposed to play Tangina?
Tangina. If she was still alive, I would have said, damn it, not Ruby Dee, but come on, y'all. She's up there with Ruby Dee. She was in How to Get Away with Murder. She played her mother.
Oh, well, she's gone now.
I know. She's alive. That's what I would pick. But I'll pick comedic actress.
Yeah, it gotta be somebody funny.
Yeah.
Damn, that was a good one. Why did you do that to me? She's vital. Tangina is definitely vital.
She is the Poltergeist. Like, you think about her and Carol Ann.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the Poltergeist did have a comedic feel, and I don't know, was it supposed to be that way? Because
I don't think so. I think
no. That's just what's his name. That's how he does stuff. It's always a little mix of family
Wanda
fun.
Sykes.
I was thinking. Was it This House Is Clean?
Actress from the awkward black girl. Like, I think she would be good in some of these.
Kayla Cole.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And on that note, Sylvester, come see me in the hot seat.
All right, let's do this.
Welcome to the hell seat, Sylvester.
It's the hot seat.
All right.
Oh, it's the hell seat?
It's the hell seat. It's just hot because of the flames. And
Understandable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Question number 1. Name 5 final girls of Friday the 13th.
This is trivia. Ain't nobody else get trivia. Friday the 13th. I don't even like Friday the 13th.
I don't either.
You know what? I'm Alice.
Yes.
Karen. Laura.
Okay, let's just drop the Friday the 13th part and let's do name 5. Well, let's do 6. 6 final girls.
Oh, that's easy. I got Sydney. I got Lori. I've got what's old girl's name? Come on. Aaron. Then Jada Pinkett Smith from Demon Knight. Yes. And then last final girl, who do I want to bring in? I'm gonna bring in old girl from the Core 4, the Randy's niece.
What's her name?
What?
I don't know who you're talking about. Randy's niece is her name?
It was for a little bit.
It's Mindy. Mindy.
Mindy. All right.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll take it. Okay.
All right.
How would you and your family do in the Quiet Place?
Terrible. My son doesn't understand quiet. To be fair, Ada has autism, so like he's just like it's his world. So it's like we tried to play hide and seek with him, and he just did not get the concept. He was playing his Kindle the whole time. So I came into the closet. I found you. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I've been here.
Like it's over. So quiet. Like the minute we saw the Quiet Place, I'm like, damn, we be dead. This is over.
Which horror movie franchise would you survive? Saw, Poltergeist, Pet Cemetery. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I know what she did last summer. Because I'm turning all those fuckers in. They going in. Like,
oh, so you're the one? You're the one.
Yes, I am. I'm gonna agree when we on that cliff. I'm gonna agree, but I'm gonna go home. I'm going straight to the sheriff. I'm like, you know what happened last night?
Thank you for telling me that. Just in case.
I need immunity. That's so I would survive that most definitely. I'm not going up against no ghosts for Poltergeist. I ain't got time for that.
Versus me, I'm like Barry. Like, put this damn body in the trunk. We're going to.
Yeah. And they made that movie like when I sit down and think about that movie, I'm so confused because like I just don't understand what the fisherman had to gain because he was killing his son and then they hit him. And then they thought they hit the son. So, your murder's covered up. But he's like, nah, I gotta ruin their lives. Like
double standard.
I'm like, sir, you got away with murder. You're risking giving all that up. Like, nah.
If he's crazy enough to kill somebody for, I think Susie was his daughter's name, and he was dating her. Whatever. If he's crazy enough to kill his daughter's ex-boyfriend, he's definitely crazy enough to kill people who ran him down and left him in the pit.
Like his whole thing, I guess, you can't argue with someone that's just crazy because he put a whole kid through college and flew all these people out to the Bahamas in hurricane season just so he could kill her. Like, no, he's out his mind. He's insane.
I don't know if that story would work with the black cast. Like, I don't understand. Like, we're not doing it. Next question. Who would you cast in a reboot to Death Becomes Her?
Death Becomes Her. Oh, that's the one with the two exes that were dying and coming back.
Yeah. Meryl Streep, Goldie Hawn, Bruce Willis.
Oh. Okay, so Bruce. Ooh, if I want to keep the same way, I would do Idris Elba as Bruce Willis, but I feel like I want to make it younger and make Michael B. Jordan him.
Okay,
I'm a for the younger cast, the younger people out there, and who I want to see Michael B. Jordan with? I don't know.
This is hard for me too. Me and my best friend talk about this.
Keke Palmer. I'm gonna pick Keke Palmer.
Ooh.
Keke Palmer, Michael B. Jordan. Now I need somebody else. All three of them on a poster. Just beautiful.
Good.
Just beautiful people on a poster. I need another comedian. Who else?
A comedian?
Yeah, I want somebody that can like dive into it.
Did you watch Insecure?
Ooh. Oh. Do I want Issa Rae or do I want Ray? I'm gonna go with Ray.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got Michael B. Jordan, Keke Palmer, Issa Rae.
Yeah. Them fighting over Michael B. Jordan and him just patching them back up. I like that. I like it
too. I don't know if the people, Hollywood was go for it because of the cast.
No, not at all. But that poster, ooh, it's poster.
So your final question is: in a zombie apocalypse, what role would you play? Scientist, warrior, nomad, or zombie overlord?
Is it me solo or I gotta take my family?
They coming too now.
All right, if I'm gonna take my family, we're gonna be nomads. If my family doesn't make it and it's just me, zombie overlord.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
So the Quiet Place zombie, it's a rough day for you.
It is. Especially my wife, I was like, what's your plan? If zombie apocalypse happens. She's like, we're gonna go in the closet. I was like, oh, I'm done. I'm done with you.
No. My best friend has this rule. If one of us is bitten, just get it up. We're not gonna do this whole situation. Pull the trigger, over immediately.
Yeah.
And that was actually going to be one of your questions. Would you be able to do that with your wife? But I thought that might be too graphic for this. So I
could. It'd be fine. She said she couldn't do it with me, though. She was like, I'd keep you locked up. And I was like, that's ridiculous. You're going to risk everybody.
Well, thank you for coming to the Hell Seat. It's been fun. And we're going to sort of teleport back to everybody else.
He gave me trivia questions. Questions. I didn't get no trivia questions.
Because I wouldn't have done very well.
Yeah.
That first one threw me off. I was like, we doing trivia. I could have.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Oh, yeah. It's the Hell Seat. It's not going to be easy for you. It's not just about what you would do.
Gotta go pick the series that I know I didn't watch. I was just like,
listen, we are all horror lovers, but Friday the 13th for me too is like Bobby gets to us all the time because
it's like it's so much fun. Like people dig too deep into it, and it's a fun fucking franchise. I love it.
I'll give it that. It's two things. It's like it's a one thing to be a good horror. No, it's not
because we want to know how he grows. It's too deep. I want to know how he went from 9 to like 47. I want to know.
It's good to put on the background when you work, whatever. It's a fun watch. You having a group of friends over and y'all hanging out. Just put on Friday the 13th. Like
I get that.
Yeah,
I do. My favorite one was Jason Goes to Hell, just because of the Freddy aspect, and then the fact that they had the whole Book of the Dead with the Evil Dead aspect. So
right here. That's my favorite one too.
See. Don't be mad. Nobody else liked the series. Like
Bobby,
you should be at least happy I like that one.
Jason Goes to Hell is just. I wasn't expecting that one from out that came out your mouth. But okay,
Listen, when Jessica took her skirt and made a scrunchie, I was like, yes, come on. Do it.
I mean, like I didn't really like the rest of the series, so him not being in it and it was like this worm possessing people, I was like, okay, whatever, I'm here for it.
I love it. Yeah, we'll take it.
Bobby,
he is. He's over it. He's over
I thought he was going to say like Jason X. I thought he was going to say at least the first
X
one.
was good too. The first one's great too.
On, man.
Okay, I'll do my lineup. It'll go Jason Goes to Hell. It'll go the first one because I love X, and I'm gonna give it to Matt, and just because I'm from New York, but I didn't like how he did that dude on the roof. I didn't like that.
Oh yeah,
but there you go. Yeah, the rest of them.
Michael would live for your little lineup because I think that's or somewhere around there. So
yeah. If you're not really a big fan of Friday the 13th, you're gonna sort of lean into those. The ones
towards the end.
Yeah, absolutely. When the graphics are a tiny bit better and we got a magical knife that transforms, I'm for all of that. But listen, Friday the 13th is you can either have a great movie or a great slasher. It's a great slasher, but it's not a great movie. And that's not standpoint.
I think they went way too far with all of the like, what is he doing? Like, it should have stopped. Like, that's one thing that is a skill that a lot of franchise writers don't have is you need to know when to stop. Like, because then it just gets ridiculous. I think Saw should have stopped after the third one.
I agree. After the third one.
Like, they're like trying to grab money and you guys just the story. And I think with the so many Friday the 13th, it gets to the point where it's just comedic value because like it's not.
I kind of feel the same way about all of them, though. I feel the same way about A Nightmare on Elm Street, and though they are very enjoyable, after a while, like Freddy is no longer scary.
Yeah, they all just
Halloween, they have they introduce in this curse, and then it just becomes too crazy, and then they got different timelines. So I think after a certain point, they should have stopped.
Yeah.
So y'all telling me you would want to see Michael Myers in space?
No.
What's Laurie doing up there? What's she doing up in space?
Right.
That's what she meant, Ripley.
Should have been a trilogy. It should have been a trilogy. We should not have. I'm kind of with Bobby. I feel like after a while, they just don't know where to go with them. And a trilogy is just a strong way to do it. You give, you just look at it as like, here's the movie, here's somewhat of a backstory, here's the real reason why all this is happening. And that just,
I think even with Halloween, they've gone too far.
Yeah, they did. They definitely did. Yeah. But I mean, the money's enticing them and kept them going.
Yeah, I would say out of all of them, Halloween is a little bit more like doable because you got Jason in space and Freddy. Where did he go? I don't think he went anywhere.
He stayed on Elm Street. He went to hell.
Yeah, but then they started introducing Dream Masters and Dream Babies and all that shit. So I'm just like, all right.
The Baby. I'll give you that, but the Dream Warrior was good. Dream Warriors was good.
No, Dream Warriors are great.
Dream Master. Okay, yeah, you're right. They should have stopped that.
I'm looking forward to Ghostface in space because I think that's going to be really cool. See him on the intercom.
I'm kind of like, this got to be the last one because we just can't keep. I mean, technically, there will always be somebody crazy enough to want to be Ghostface, but you can only go so far to a point where it's like, okay, Nev is, we're getting up there. We're getting up there to the point. We almost Pamela Voorhees age here. So that's just
we are.
We only go so far with, I mean, we just gotta let it go. Let it go.
They might as well just do this last one, give the fans what they want, bring back Stu, make it like there's a whole bunch of murders going on. I'm fine with Stu coming back. Stu come back.
He was dead. He can't come back. He's dead. They would have alluded to me a while ago.
If I was gonna do it, I would bring in Sam's mom and reveal that Sam's mom was part of the original killings. That's what I would do.
That was my theory. That was my theory for the seventh one.
He attacked Sydney in the bathroom in the first one. She killed Tatum. I see it all happening.
Yeah, sure. I can see that, and that would be good.
Yep.
But we have to figure out where was she at this time? Like, where was she in the house, in the movies, in the beginning?
Oh, the first ones? Yeah. But
when I don't know. Back and forth through the timeline like that with different writers, it creates holes that don't make sense. Like, it's just too far. Like, they've gone too far. Just like let it go.
I.e. Halloween. Yeah, it was too many people. And we got all the wishes that we got to this day.
Yeah, if you're gonna do something like that where it's gonna be long, you need to have the same writer and the same director. And it needs
yes.
I kind of wanted a Netflix series that brought everybody back with Halloween. Like, bring back Jamie Lloyd, bring back everybody. Be like, this is a family thing. Make it Fast and Furious family, but make it a family thing where they were dealing with. Here are the Lloyd. Well, here the family that has something to do with the Lloyds. The what you call it.
So in this universe, we're keeping Michael as her brother.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I still don't like that, but I agree with John Carpenter. He didn't want that shit, and I agree.
My only with that is there's no connectivity to have a final girl like Friday 13th if there's no connection, and that brother sister created a connection that'll make sense for Laurie to keep coming back. Laurie's not really that important. She was just in the way, and he was trying to go home.
Well, that's true. She was
yeah.
But now it's about to happen.
Like the problem is, like, the first stories are super terrifying, but because they're grasping for straws, it becomes comedic. And for me, and this is an unpopular opinion, I don't think unless it's meant to be a comedy, horror and comedy don't really go together. Like Telling Ducker versus Evil, that's comedy horror, so that works, right? But when we're having slapstick moments in like Friday the 13th and Freddy, I think it takes away from the core of what those movies were supposed to be.
Yeah. I guess it depends on the type of comedy though, because there's like slapstick and there's the ones that's kind of just like you get that ha moment where things are too intense in a film, so you get to breathe a little bit, and then we'll finally get that scary moments again. I like those moments where I can breathe a little bit and laugh, and then I'm back to being scared again. But when you do get those slapsticks, it does take you out of it a little bit.
I'm big on comedy and horror, and it's just like I don't know, because I always feel like no matter how things get, you're still gonna laugh sooner or later. I mean, it kind of like with this $250,000 seat. Everybody made jokes about it, but it is a terrible thing. But we laughed, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm fine with comedy in my horror.
I think it's a cool tool to use to connect people to the audience and make them seem real and as people. And as writers, we already know character development is everything, and connecting those characters to the audience is what matters beyond everything else. And you can do that through comedy, but it's a moment where you have
funny. Like I don't see how The French Inside would have benefited from a comic relief, right? It ratcheted up and ratcheted up and ratcheted up and ratcheted up, and then it like kicked us off the cliff. That's how I prefer my horror. And but depending on who I'm hanging out with, we might have to watch Tucker and Dale, or we might have to watch, because not everybody is into. Like I have friends who support me in other ways, but they can't even get through a horror movie trailer, right? So it just depends
me too.
on who you're with. But like comedy is my least favorite genre of all, and so I just don't like it in my horror. I want to be left hiding in the corner and shooting at shadows. That's not the end goal, then I'm not satisfied.
I want to be left how Saw, the first one, left me gagged. How he woke up on the floor and feeling so bad for this guy in that room. That's my experience.
Fucking Adam, right? Like,
yeah. That was heartbreaking. Y'all, it's been so much fun hanging out. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to come and hang out with the Scream Kingz, talk about your books, talk about everything horror related that we could think about. So let us know where we can find you. And we'll make sure to include your links in the bio below so they can buy your products, see your products, find more about you. But let's just do a final farewell. Victor, we're going to kick it off with you.
All right. Well, this was so fun. Thank y'all for inviting me. I really had a great time today. You can find me on WonderMan5 on Twitter. Soon a TikTok where I'm going to try to promote my new book that I wrote. And also you can go to Strange Lore. Strange Lore is on Twitter. You can just look that up, and that gives you access to look at the book online. And so you can kind of check it out from there, and that's where you can find it.
You said Strange Lore?
Strange Lore.
Okay, Victor, me and you do some TikTok dances together. I see that. It's coming. We're going to take them over. So,
yes, Sylvester, you want to go next?
Okay, so y'all can go to my website, www.sylvesterbarzey.com. I do blog. I'm pretty proud of my blog. It's kind of it's not current all the time, but I'm proud of it. And you can find me everywhere else at sylvesterbarzey.com or at Sylvester Barzey on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Indeed. If you got money like that, hire me. You do that too.
Yes.
So my website is www.wordsmithcrystalconnor.com. You can find me all over social media from @notes from the author. And I'm going to do a quick self-promotion plug. Not only am I an author, you guys, I am now the founder of Cabin in the Woods Film Festival, which is a short film festival that's happening in Seattle. And what's cool about this festival that others that are different from all the other festivals that you guys are going to, all the awesome festivals that are out there, is my VIP guests will be watching all of these films and judging them in a cabin in the woods.
I love that.
That's
Cool
fine.
concept.
Cabininthewoods.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Cabininthewoodsfilmfestival.com.
Okay.
Yay.
And if you can't come out to Seattle, or if you don't want to come out to Seattle and hang out in a cabin in the state that produces more serial killers per capita, there's also an online festival as well.
Yeah. Someone really need to look into y'all, because that's crazy, all those serial killers that came.
It's the fresh water. I'm kidding. I don't know why. This has been so fun, you guys. I'm so glad that you invited me, and I'm sorry about my tech issues.
No, it's okay.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah. Thanks again for coming, y'all. We really, TaMon, thanks for obviously getting everybody together and doing this. And yeah.
And your podcast name is perfect. The Scream Kingz.
Yeah.
And I'm TaMon Kane. You can find me here, of course, on Scream Kingz, and guesting and doing features on everybody else's singles and tracks. So, and also, please check out my book page, Join the Fraternite. If you like magic, if you like murder, if you like diversity, people of color, check it out. It's about a fraternity that comes back to Egypt, dealing with different 5 branches of magic. You're going to love it. It's a graphic novel, so it's a lot of different drawings and fun stuff. Saucier Saga on Instagram. Bobby, where can they find you?
Bobby Torres with a Z, not an S, on Twitter and Instagram. People Under the Skiers with Michael Anthony. Bobby Likes to Spooky on my YouTube. I don't know why I just drew a blank. And then obviously here, Scream Kingz. You know, I'm everywhere nowadays.
Okay. We doing features. We doing singles.
Listen, we dropping beats.
So make sure for those, happy Authors Appreciation Day. Pick up a book and read it, a horror book. Get read if you're an author. Come over here, TK Publishing. We got you. Get read. Get your books out there. All those things. Thank you again to the guests. Thank you to my Scream King Bobby for hanging out tonight. And we're going to go ahead and cut out. Scream you later.
Scream you later.